その発達段階に合わせてそのクラスを分けるっていうのは他で私は聞いたことがないと思うんですね。まだ世界でほとんどそういうことをやってるところはないと思うんですけれども、そういうやるにあたってまた少し皆さん戸惑ったりすることもあるってことなんですが、それをする今度メリットの方っていうのも教えていただきたいんですね。どうしてそのやり方っていうのがみんな合意できているのか、最初苦労もあったと思うので、そういうこともちょっと伺えたらなと思います。
Absolutely. It's a good question. So when I started back at the schools enrollments had dropped. So when I'd left, they were around 60, and by the time I came back, they were around 25. So you can imagine that being able to shift a group of parents where there's only 25 kids in the school is a lot easier than trying to shift a school where there's like 60 parents. So that was one thing. I brought the model in with a small group of parents. Similarly with the staff. By the time I shared with the staff that were there when I first came back what we were going to do, and they had 6 months to decide whether they wanted to stay or whether they wanted to go before I took on the role. I gave them 6 months warning. So I knew there were only 2 teachers left, and both of them decided that they didn't want to take on a new model. So it was all new staff. So that made it particularly easy. But over time, it's still difficult every year. And every time there's a new staff member to have to train them in this and help them understand it. And the same with the new parents. Because if the parents don't come along to learn about it, then they just will resist they will resist the idea that this is a part of their child that they need to understand, and a part of themselves that they need to understand. And that makes it really difficult. Also, there isn't an easy assessment tool to use with the children. Terry's model relies on sentence stems, which doesn't work for us in the setting that we're at. So we've had to really try and align our assessment model with the sentence stems idea and find more concrete ways to be able to assess development of the children, which is why we don't just use Terry's model. We also use Kohlberg, and we also use James Fowler's faith development. And we've also developed our own social and emotional model that we use. So if you put them all together, it gives you some good benchmarks to be able to align whether or not the outcomes you're getting are matching. So that's how we've worked out how to be able to do the assessments that we do with the children. I can't remember what the rest of your question was, The benefits are broad. The one that the teachers talk about the most is that in relation to behaviour management, it's just life-changing. Generally, the reason that we see children start to become difficult in a classroom is actually a developmental issue. They're at a stage that's not being accommodated in the classroom. So we'll have a child who, it's a trigger for assessment. As soon as we have a child who starts to develop behaviour management issues, we know that we're dealing with a child that needs to be assessed to see whether or not they're in the right class group. And as soon as they move into the new class group that's actually pitched to the right developmental stage that they're at, it evaporates, the behaviour evaporates. And that's not for all kids. There's some kids who've got behaviour issues all the way through. But man, it's hugely reduced any behaviour issues. We have really calm, quiet classrooms until someone needs to shift, and then it gets a little bit hairy in there and difficult. But the other benefit of it is that the reciprocal process of learning that happens between the teacher and the child and the children in their room is a powerful gift that I don't think anything else can give you. To be able to learn as an adult about who you are in the process of teaching these beautiful little people, is a gift, and developmental theory gives you these really discrete, as does integral, discrete ways to be able to identify that learning, to be able to notice what triggers you're having emerge, to notice what your biases are, to be able to learn about yourself in every interaction that you have with the child is an absolute daily beautiful gift. And yeah, all the teachers talk about the value of that. It allows them to see a depth within themselves and within their colleagues and within the children and within the parents that prior to understanding the model they didn't have.
ありがとうございます。